Manipulators are strongest when you explain, defend, or rush yourself. Most people never realize they are being controlled because the trap does not look like control. It looks like a conversation. That is what makes it dangerous. The wrong person does not need your trust. They only need your hesitation. Once they get that, they can pull you into doubt, pressure, and emotional reaction before you even see the game. Today I'm giving you 10 Stoic phrases that remove the fuel manipulators need to keep their power. No shouting. No begging. No emotional collapse. Just calm words that make their tactics stop working. And if you keep reacting emotionally, you stay easier to steer. But when you learn to answer with clarity, the manipulation starts falling apart. And the first phrase cuts straight through the fog. The first two phrases are, "What exactly do you mean?" And "Can you say that more directly?" Clarity versus ambiguity. Truth versus implication. Manipulators rely on vagueness because it creates confusion, guilt, and false agreement. But these phrases force them to be specific, and specificity weakens hidden control. Most people never realize how fast manipulation loses power when it has to speak plainly. Stoicism values truth over performance, and these phrases reflect that perfectly. They do not attack, they expose. They do not insult, they clarify. And that is what makes them effective. The hidden cost of staying vague with vague people is that you begin reacting to shadows instead of facts. You stop dealing with what is real and start defending what was only implied. But when clarity enters the room, manipulation starts losing ground, and the next phrases help when pressure replaces clarity and your judgment is being rushed. The next two phrases are, "I'm not deciding under pressure and that doesn't work for me." Reaction versus restraint. Approval versus self-respect. Manipulators often use urgency, guilt, or cornering to force a quick answer before your mind is clear. These phrases interrupt that tactic immediately. They stop the emotional clock. They make it clear that pressure is not permission. Most people never realize how much power they lose by agreeing too fast just to end discomfort. They think they are avoiding conflict, but they are actually surrendering judgment. Stoicism teaches that calm delay is not weakness, it is control. The hidden cost of responding under pressure is that your life starts being shaped by other people's timing instead of your own reasoning. These phrases protect your ability to think. They give your mind the space it needs to stay free. And next we move into the kind of manipulation that stops using pressure and starts using emotion as bait. The next two phrases are, "I see it differently and let's stick to the facts." Emotion versus precision. Chaos versus control. Manipulators often shift from pressure to emotion when they cannot get you to agree quickly. They try to make the conversation messy, personal, or circular so you lose your footing. These phrases keep the exchange clean. They do not feed the spiral. They do not reward the bait. Most people never realize that calm disagreement and factual focus are often more powerful than emotional defense. Stoicism teaches that wisdom seeks truth, not victory, and these phrases embody that exactly. The hidden cost of arguing emotionally with a manipulator is that you enter their arena and start playing by their rules. But when you stay precise, the whole game becomes harder to maintain. And the next phrases remove the ego stage entirely, which is where manipulation often hides best. The next two phrases are, "You don't need to prove that to me," and "I hear your point and I still disagree." Validation versus freedom. Performance versus authenticity. Manipulators often perform superiority, not because they are strong, but because they need to look strong. These phrases quietly remove the stage. They tell the other person they do not need to impress you, dominate you, or win your approval. And that changes the energy instantly. Most people never realize how disarming it is to stop rewarding someone's need to look important. Stoicism teaches that real strength does not advertise itself. It does not need an audience. It does not need to perform. The hidden cost of feeding ego is that you start living under its pressure. These phrases free you from that dynamic while keeping your own position intact. And the final two phrases become the strongest boundary when respect is openly tested. The final two phrases are, "We can continue when this is respectful," and "I'm ending this conversation here." Dignity versus escalation. Peace versus emotional drag. These are the highest forms of calm authority because they do not argue, beg, or threaten. They simply end access when the terms are wrong. Most people never realize how powerful it is to leave a disrespectful conversation without raising their voice. Stoicism teaches that control begins with self-command, not with trying to control someone else's behavior. That is why these phrases work. They make respect non-negotiable. The hidden cost of staying in disrespectful exchanges is that your standards slowly disappear, one compromise at a time. But when you end the loop, you stop feeding the manipulation completely. And at that point, these phrases are no longer just responses. They are signs of a person who no longer offers their peace to manipulation. The goal is not to become cold. It is to become impossible to steer. A person who stays calm, specific, and bounded becomes rare, and rarity creates respect. These phrases work because they come from inner discipline, not emotional impulse. Manipulators need reaction. The Stoic person offers observation, clarity, and refusal. A wise person does not explain endlessly, chase approval, or stay trapped in emotional loops. They see the tactic, name the boundary, and protect their peace. That is what makes them harder to control. Remember this. The moment you stop feeding the trap loses its power. If this spoke to you, comment which phrase you need most. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and keep building the kind of presence that cannot be easily controlled by the wrong people.